right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're gonna talk about bowling on dry lanes and specifically coming to a new pair where the lanes are hooking and we have to make some adjustments. And we're gonna bowl a game, kind of talk you through what adjustments we're making, how to play the pair, and probably how to play each lane, because a lot of times each lane plays different.
Yeah, and this is a big part of bowling is like, you know, you go to a pair, every time you bowl league in a week, you bowl in different pairs. You gotta kind of understand that pairs are different, lanes are different, and there's a way that you can navigate it that we've seen a lot of really good bowlers do really well. So we're just gonna get into it. We've got some dry lanes out here. Typically to any pair, there's gonna be a little difference in lane to lane. We're gonna explain that a little bit, and we're gonna explain what we like to see, some tips and tricks that we like to go through and figuring out, okay, what's the right strategy and how do we really attack this properly?
Okay, so Brad's gonna start us out here on the left lane.
Now, we're bowling on some drier lanes, but they're not the most dry burn up. They're still a little push.
Yeah, I would say these aren't like, they're not that crispy, but they
hook.
They hook. There's some oil.
And generally when lanes break down a lot and we're dealing with a lot of hook and not a ton of oil, we like to play the more middle part of the lane because that's where the leftover oil mostly is. So you're gonna see us playing the inside part of the lane because we're trying to find some oil, really.
Yeah, we're gonna play left. Now, when I'm coming to a new pair and I'm trying to figure out what the lanes do, the most important for me, my strategy is the most important shots are your first two shots. Trying to throw the absolute best shot you can to get a read. Because I wanna throw a great shot, that way I know what the lane is doing. If I throw a bad shot, well, it's hard to tell sometimes, was it me, was it the lane? And then the next shot on this lane, I still don't have a great idea. But if I can dial in my first two shots, that's what I'm looking to do here. So we're gonna be playing pretty far left. Again, I'm trying to use whatever oil's in the middle part of the lane, and let's see what happens here. I'm almost at the ball return. I'm looking at 23 at the arrows. Let's see. Okay.
All right, so that was about as good of
a shot I can do.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely happy with that. Now I have an idea of what this lane did. I'm happy I was around 23 at the arrows. Now I'm gonna go to the other lane here and I'm gonna do kind of the same thing.
Yeah, you wanna do the same thing.
Because it says, I don't know how this lane is playing yet. So I'm gonna throw a shot over here. I'm gonna stand in the exact same place. Not gonna change anything. Now, I also noticed that Brad's ball, he was around fourth arrow. So for me, I'm gonna try to also be a few left of him on this lane. So, which is where I'm at. Okay, so.
Now, that was a little bit more hook.
Yeah, so when I noticed that, I think, okay, this lane is coming off the spot a little harder than that lane.
Yes.
So I stood in the same place, I looked the same place. I also kind of got it right a little more than I wanted to. So I think my next shot on this lane, I would be conscious of the idea, okay, don't get it too far right down lane because it's gonna store too much energy and do that. So all right, let's pick the spare here. But overall, I'm pretty happy that those two shots were fairly similar. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a shot on this right lane. Same deal, you know, just because it's the same pair doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they're gonna play exactly the same. Now, there's two people bowling on this pair. I just watched Kyle throw a shot and he went high on this left lane, so I don't even really have to throw a shot on each lane to kind of have an idea that maybe that lane's hooking a little bit more just off of your shot. So I'm gonna kind of play that into effect. I'm still gonna play pretty similar line here. All right, so I'm getting some hook, and you know, to really get a good idea of what's going on in the pair, we gotta throw some shots. Like you gotta throw some bad ones just to see what the bad ones do. You gotta throw some really good ones to see what the good ones do. That's all part of it. But every time we're bowling a game, we're paying attention to the differences that are being created.
And now we're through the first two frames. The whole point, like I think the biggest difference that separates amateurs and professionals is how quickly they can get lined up. Obviously they throw it different, but it's how fast can you understand what the pair is doing. You know, are you lined up in the third frame or are you lined up in the seventh frame?
Big difference in score there.
Big difference. And you add that up over an entire block, you know, the pros are gonna be, or the higher level bowlers are gonna be like they're gonna throw more shots where they have a better understanding of what the lane's calling for. So the fact that we're through two frames here, we both hit the pocket, that's kind of like gives us a little confidence, I would say.
Tells you where you can play.
Tells you where you can play. And now we have a good idea to where it's go time now. Let's just throw some good shots, assuming we don't have any hiccups.
Right.
All right, you gonna bowl left lane here?
I'll bowl left lane.
We'll do a little like match play style, a little 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
All right, we got a little bit of hook on that right lane, and so we're gonna kind of play into this lane, hook and a pinch more. We're gonna move 2. Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, so nice little 2-board move.
Yeah.
I saw that it caught some oil. It didn't ricochet and it didn't overly hook.
That was nice.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. You know, we're kind of looking to see where the hook is and where the hold is, and we've gotten some hook and we've gotten some hold. That's all you need to be comfortable.
And honestly, when you're playing left as a one-hander, if you can, like for me, if I can get that 5, like that 5 into the 7 kind of hit working, oh, it's great. Because when you're playing this far left, the lanes are getting really dry. It's hard to get the ball to like really go through the pins. So if you're getting that hit working, it's nice. So, all right, I'm not moving off the shot I threw over here. 23 at the arrows.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
So that's pretty straightforward. Now, like you can see that one, I didn't get it as far right as the one I did on this lane. So now when I go throw a shot over here, I'm gonna attempt to just shut my angle down a little bit, because my angle that I had on this lane the last time, it forced me to get the ball too far right, responded to that friction like really violently, and that's why I 9-pin. This is kind of just like a body alignment thing for me, and I'm just gonna be conscious, try to be conscious of the idea of like, all right, just don't get it as far right down lane. Play the hold. Okay, so you can see that shot was a lot further in. I was able to kind of play that hold, and that's really what I was hoping to see, because I think I can get a more consistent reaction keeping my break point in, playing that hold, as opposed to really trying to throw it to the dry and get it to hook off of it.
Yeah, and we're really trying to just determine where the hook is and how much is it. As this continues to break down and hook, we're gonna keep on moving a little more inside, a little bit farther left, just to keep chasing that oil. The more shots we throw, the more hook is gonna develop into the pattern. So as it keeps hooking a little more and more, we're just gonna keep trying to find that oil a little bit more and more. All right, so I'm gonna try a different ball here. All part of the plan of trying to figure out, exactly. I'm watching Kyle. He's got a great look inside that kind of makes me want to play in a similar position, but I'm gonna try a different ball. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so, that gave us an idea of, hey, there's quite a bit of hook on the lane. This high road 40 wasn't giving us as like sideways motion, but I got some pretty sideways motion on a ball that's a little bit weaker. So that just kind of goes in the memory bank. Kyle saw a weaker ball hook a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So that kind of just keeps us, we can kind of use our opponents to kind of figure out, now, what do you want me to do? You want me to try and see if I can get lined up with this weaker one? Or do you want me to
First, I want you to pick this split.
Ooh, how do I do that?
A little 2-ball action?
A little 2-ball action. All right.
Are you gonna do it at the same time, or you're just gonna toss one? Oh, that's hard. That's fast. You better pick up your other ball.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening.
It's not gonna get there?
That was disaster waiting to happen. Okay, so we're getting hooked. Whether it was the ball, whether it was me, I'm gonna keep playing into that, and we're just gonna keep moving left. See what happens.
Nice.
All
Now
right,
we're throwing these high road 40s, which is pretty much like, the weaker end of the spectrum. When we're bowling on dry lanes, this is what these types of balls are designed to do. A lot of times when the balls, I'll notice people later in the day, their ball like stops hooking and they get tight down lane. Well, in reality, what's usually happening is the fact that the front part of the lane is getting so beat up, because everyone lays the ball down roughly the same. That's where all the balls are more consistent.
Boards.
Down lane is where, it's kind of more of like a sprinkler system. It's like everyone's laying it down here. So because that lay down point, everyone's kind of in the same spot, that gets beat up. Your ball starts hooking early. So that's why these high road 40s are looking really good, because they're clean. They're seeing that early friction and they're just kind of gliding through it and storing energy. Now, I'm gonna ball up to a rock star. Not like a ton stronger than the high road 40, but a definite step up. This is kind of my benchmark ball. This is a ball that's a lot more controllable, and I'm gonna go in the same place. And I just wanna see, would a ball like this go through the pins and still look good? So let's see. I'm gonna stay in the exact same place, hopefully not change a thing. That looked really good. That was kind of nice. But for me, that ball definitely still read a little earlier.
And smoother, you could tell.
And smoother.
It's a stronger cover.
It wasn't as like angular. So now I'm like, if I was bowling, that's a pretty viable option. If I need more pocket control and I'm not feeling great, I would probably throw the Rockstar. If my projection's really good and I'm feeling good, I would probably throw the High Road 40 because I think that ball, if I get it to the spot the right way every time, it's just gonna knife.
It's really nice that you tried a really strong ball like that because it gives you some more knowledge on, hey, how much are these lanes hooking? Sometimes you get on lanes that hook so much that strong covers like that, I mean, they're rolled out by the time it gets 10 feet down the lane.
Yeah.
But we just saw that not necessarily. So even though we are bowling on quite a bit of hook, there's still enough slide, a little bit enough oil to be able to throw a stronger ball. But you wouldn't know that unless you tried it.
Yeah, and this ball is still symmetric, so it's still like benchmarky. It's not like I'm throwing an Ion Max here or something like crazy strong. So we're gonna go on this lane. You know, I'm still playing them pretty much the same. I got this lane a little more, I got 11 a little more cliffed than 12. Ooh. So you can see that one, that Rockstar just doesn't quite want to continue and come off the spot. And then cliff for me means that the dry is really dry and the inside part of the lane is kind of really slick. So it's very possible to get it to the dry and it bounces too hard, or you get it in and it skids a little much. So this lane to me kind of feels a little bit more like that.
Yes.
Than 12.
Yes.
12 seems a little more blended is what we like to call it.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that same read, and it's still interesting that this Rockstar didn't look terrible. It's definitely lazier.
Lazier.
Because the cover's stronger.
And that's the ball that, since it is stronger, but it's reading that friction early. And that's what, it's losing energy, and that's why you don't see it just boomeranging off the spot.
Yeah, but it's just nice that you threw it, you know? Even though it struck twice, it might not look as good as another ball. It's good knowledge to have.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting a little less oil in the middle on this. A little more blended, I think we would call. Over under cliff would be the opposite of that. Now the last ball on this lane, I threw a weaker ball and got quite a bit more motion. Motion sometimes when the lanes are hooking and there's a lot of traffic on them, motion can be uncontrollable. Even though it's a weaker ball, it became a little uncontrollable for me. So I went to a little bit smoother ball, a little stronger, a little rollier, and it blends it a little better. So even though there's a lot of hook, I'm not throwing the weakest ball I got. Now this lane, like we said, a little more over under. I'm not gonna feel like I have to project it as well. I can kind of roll it in that oil.
That was really nice.
Yeah, so I mean, even though we're doing okay, we've got some 3 and 4 baggers here, the lanes are a little different.
Yeah, a little different.
And that's kind of one of the main goals we're trying to get here is that, you know, just because you're on the same pair doesn't necessarily mean the lanes are going to transition the exact same. You know, these little micro adjustments are pretty key.
We think the term pair, and we think those are like, that's one unit, and it's 2 lanes.
It's 2 lanes,
you know, every lane. And, you know, it's really when we started bowling on tour, we really like started to see how different 2 lanes can be. I mean, we've been to centers where the topography is just nuts to where, you know, one lane is coming off the gutter, one lane's not. One lane, you have hold in this spot, one lane you don't, and, you know, it's just the challenge and making sure you take like each lane as its own thing.
Yeah, and, you know, the pairs that are tough and bad are the pairs that the lanes are quite a bit different.
Yeah, quite a bit different.
And the pairs that are really nice you can score on, they're much more similar.
Absolutely. Now also when you're playing left here, just like a little tip is to, you know, especially as a one-hander when you have this thumb in it, a lot of times we play left, we may want to like grab the ball. Like you're trying to create more revs, which might create a little bit more grip pressure. And what that actually ends up doing is you kind of hit up on it, and the ball will, when it hits the lane, it likes to lose energy even more. So when you're playing left like this, obviously we want to create revs when we want to do that, but we want to try to do it without squeezing and without up hitting the ball, because that actually gives us less motion down lane and makes that friction in the front part of the lane just more prevalent. So this is like a little thing. It's really easy to feel like you got to grab it a lot more playing left, but we want to try to stay relaxed. The ball is nice.
The ball is nice. When you go from this lane to this lane, what exact adjustment are you going to make on this next shot? What are you 2 left? Are you rolling it a little smoother? Like, what is the exact?
Yeah, so I threw that shot. I'm standing and looking at the exact same thing.
On both lanes?
On both lanes.
Okay.
However, my main prevalent thought I have when I come over here is that the dry is more dry on this lane. So I know, like, this lane, I feel like I can scoot the ball right and it won't react very violently off of it, and I'm cool. This lane, I'm just thinking, okay, angle needs to be a little bit in. If I get it right, there's a good chance that it does something I don't want it to do.
So it's more directional with you?
It's more directional.
Okay.
And it's really, like, for me, it's kind of like, even though I'm standing and looking in the same spot, I'm just like visually looking a little bit more in, keeping my body like a touch more closed. Because it's a very small adjustment. Like it's not very big at all, but I just don't want to get this ball to like 5-6 down lane. That was probably around 7, 8, 9 down lane.
Yeah, I can tell. Definitely it was a little more.
A little more in.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm thinking, because I know I could maybe get it right and it'll strike, but there's just a good chance at 9 pins. And you know, even though a 9 pin feels like a bad shot, it's like that first shot, I knew it was gonna 9 pin. As soon as I saw it read that friction and go too high, and I want to avoid that, because even though it kind of feels like it's a bad break, it's really not.
It's really not.
You can control, you can manipulate that miss.
Yeah. All right, dude, so we actually have a match here. Somehow or another, we've only missed twice. And I don't know if these actual scores are our actual games, but let's finish this game off here. I threw a really weak ball. IQAI gave me too much angle. I've seen him throw a much stronger ball. It was a little too lazy, which, I mean, between my shots and his shots, I can tell this is the perfect ball. So I'm just gonna rock with this thing. And we're gonna try and beat Kyle here.
Dang, we do have
down
a
some
score
wood.
going on here.
We're down some wood.
Pretty good. Ooh. Oh, you lucky dog.
Very clear that there's just, what?
That increased the chance of you making this by 30%.
It also decreased my chance of winning this game by a lot. So, spare ball, IQ.
Oh, that's not good.
That's why you throw spare balls.
Teammate bagger.
You don't rely. Did I just choke that off after I did?
Yeah,
you
that
kind
lane.
of just roll it in the middle.
That lane has way more hold than this lane. All right, we're gonna start this off with this ball. Man, I just really enjoy throwing this high road 40. Oh, that's not good. Wow, that lane is what we call the China. Okay, I can miss left, I can miss right. Like that one, I missed right and didn't like get around it to get it to like corner, and it's still just like shaped up.
Now, would that have overhooked on this left lane?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. Now, since I just have this absolutely wrapped up, I'm gonna try this ball that we haven't thrown, just because. So this is this is actually the new Ion Pro Solid, and I'm gonna stay in the same place with it. Now, it's still pretty clean, but it's stronger than the high road 40 for sure. Like it's gonna wanna pick up in the mid lane. But I'm gonna stay in the same place and just not get it right, because I think that oil in the middle part of the lane is so like strong and prevalent that it could get this ball to hold as long as I don't get it right quick. Kind of got it right.
I'd be curious to see what that ball does on this lane. Actually, let's see.
You think you would have had a chance if you threw the Ion Pro Solid?
No.
All right, I'm gonna do the same thing, I guess. That was more what I was trying to do, and it still went through the pins pretty well, so. Wow, that's a number, buddy.
Yeah, 280.
Oh, 280 if we strike here?
I would have bet against that, by the way.
Let's see your Ion Pro here.
A little weak with the hand there.
A little weak with the hand? I thought it was just like, this ball's a little more just ball.
It is, a little bit.
All right, last shot. Finish it out, 280. Scoot up on the approach. I'm working on being scooting up a little bit. That's pretty good.
That is pretty amazing.
Nice game. Of course, it's practice.
Oh. I was wanting to throw a field ball.
Team no spare.
Dude, 280. A couple different balls. I don't know, but these two balls that we threw look pretty good.
Yeah, on dry lanes, I am I'm
nice
really,
little 1-2 punch.
yeah, I'm liking these because sometimes on dry lanes you can't get away with like the weakest ball in your bag, especially early because it's just too much still. Like a high road 40, I mean, it looked good now, but
on fresh, it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean. And this ion, I think it would be better earlier, even though like on a high friction center. But yeah, overall, bowling on like these dry lanes, it's really important to get lined up early to make sure you take each lane as its own and don't just think, oh, I struck on this lane, I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other lane, because it very rarely works out like that.
Yeah, and it's tricky because you could think they're playing the same way and they're not, and then you think it's you.
Yeah.
Like you think you're the
and
one
you're
that's
like,
throwing bad
I
shots.
keep making a bad shot on the left lane, It's like, it might be playing different.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we appreciate you watching that video. We have a free gift for you guys, absolutely free. Just click the link in the description. It's a video from our Master Lane series. Really, really awesome video. I hope you enjoy it. And we appreciate you for watching this video. Hit that like and subscribe for us. And we love you.
We'll see you later.